Worship. What is it? Why do so many Christians get together in a big room on Sunday mornings and sing out loud with their hands raised? Does worship really do anything? Let's find out. When was the last time you felt a sense of awe? Maybe you saw a spectacular sunset, the kind that took your breath away. Or maybe you witnessed the birth of your child and everything about the world felt different in that moment. Or maybe you saw a movie and it moved you in a profound way. Think back on that moment. What did you feel and what was your response? For many people, that moment of awe is a time when they feel especially close to God, or at the very least, some sort of transcendent something. And often something accompanies that awe, a response, an acknowledgement of just how wonderful the object of your awe is. Sometimes that response is just stated as fact, like, what an amazing sunset, or baby, or a movie. And sometimes it's directed at someone, like, God, thank you for this sunset, or for this baby, or for this movie. That is worship. When we worship God, we are recognizing His awesome qualities and the amazing things He's done. We see worship on display all throughout the Bible, but nowhere so clearly as in the book of Psalms. The book of Psalms is a book of songs written thousands of years ago by lots of different people. And one type of song in this book is psalms of thanksgiving and praise. These psalms contain words like, Lord, our Lord, how majestic is your name in all the earth. The whole earth is filled with awe at your wonders. Where morning dawns, where evening fades, you call forth songs of joy. Shout for joy to the Lord, all the earth. Burst into jubilant song with music. On their own, these words might feel a little difficult to relate to, but put into the context of a moment of awe, they ring true. Recognition of how good God is and the good things He's done. In the Gospels, we see the disciples worship Jesus, the Son of God, in moments of awe. One of these moments happens in Matthew 14. The disciples were on a ship being rocked around by wind and waves, and Jesus came to them walking on water. Then Peter called to him, Lord, if it's really you, tell me to come to you, walking on the water. Yes, come, Jesus said. So Peter went over the side of the boat and walked on the water toward Jesus. But when he saw the strong wind and the waves, he was terrified and began to sink. Save me, Lord, he shouted. Jesus immediately reached out and grabbed him. You have so little faith, Jesus said. Why did you doubt me? When they climbed back into the boat, the wind stopped. Then the disciples worshiped him. You really are the Son of God, they exclaimed. The disciples saw so many incredible things in this one encounter with Jesus. They watched Jesus and Peter walk on the water, and then watched as Jesus rescued Peter from the water and the rest of them from the wind. It's no wonder they would have felt called to worship Jesus after this kind of experience. Today, worship services are used as spaces for people to worship God together. It can be hard to find time to worship God during the week, and opportunities to worship Him alongside someone else are even more rare. Singing songs to Him, many of them similar to the Psalms written thousands of years ago, give Jesus followers the opportunity to remember how good God is and the good things He's done, and give Him the praise He deserves. But worship services aren't the only place where worship happens. Those examples I mentioned earlier, like seeing a sunset or witnessing the birth of a child or watching a powerful movie, the praise that often comes up as a result of those experiences are kinds of worship too. In fact, just about any experience can turn into an opportunity to worship God if we remain mindful of who He is and what He's done. So when you're getting your kid ready for school in the morning or riding the bus home from work in the afternoon, choosing to do those things for God, it's a form of worship. So what does it look like to live with this kind of mindfulness? Here are two ways you can keep everything that's awesome about God at the forefront of your mind. The first is communion. Communion is the practice of eating bread and drinking wine or grape juice to remember the price Jesus paid on the cross for the wrong things we've done. When we make the space to think back on that sacrifice and take communion, just like Jesus instructed his disciples to do during the Last Supper, we're worshiping God for the greatest display of love anyone could ever show us. Second is practicing gratitude. When we live with grateful hearts and thank God for the good things he's given us, that's worship. This can look like a regular practice, like keeping a journal of all the things you're thankful for, or it can look like something more spontaneous, like committing to voice your thanks to God when you experience gratitude throughout your day. And gratitude comes with the added benefit of encouraging us to live more generous lives by extension. You've heard of tithing. Giving back to God out of the abundance he's given us is a form of worship too. But we'll talk more about that in another video. Above all, one of the main benefits of worship is that it rightly prioritizes our lives. It can be easy to put work, school, family, relationships, or just about anything else on a pedestal above God. But worshiping him reminds us that he is deserving of the number one spot in our lives, which in turn helps us put everything else in the right order. Next, we're going to be talking about reading the Bible. If you want to watch that video, just click here.